Hello, welcome to Project Passion episode 2. Thanks for listening in. Again, if you haven't read the description, Project Passion has been created to inspire you to follow your passions and turn it into a successful business or career. This week I have Dan Tate on the show.
Hello.
And Dan is one of only 5 students who's going to be graduating the University of Wales Trinity St David this year with a degree in motorsport management. Dan has also been trained in motorsport engineering at the Wiltshire College of Motorsport facility. He also interned at the Motorsport Industry Association, and he works with up-and-coming British Rally Championship driver James Williams. So do you want to just introduce yourself? Anything else I missed out there as well, Dan?
Yep, you pretty much covered it. So my name's Daniel Tate. I grew up in the southwest of England, sort of Bath area. So I've, ever since sort of 2003, 2004, I've been interested in motorsport. Originally, I wanted to go into the engineering side. I always wanted to change wheels on a Formula One car or something
Get
like
them
that.
seconds.
Yeah, so I was always fascinated with both the racing itself, the vehicles, and also the teamwork and stuff like that went behind the racing, as it were.
Of course.
So basically, I slowly went and progressed through my education and went towards studying specific areas so I could reach different goals throughout my education.
So obviously, I assume like most people, up until you went to university, you obviously trained to get to that point. You obviously done your A-levels or your college qualifications to get to that. So do you want to explain just sort of your path and your decision making before going to university?
Okay. So it was probably year 9 in secondary school. So I started off by thinking towards the future. I was like, I want to go to this motorsport college because it's very rare to have a college that you can study such a specific course.
Yeah, of course.
So not a lot of colleges around the UK you can actually go and specifically study motorsport engineering.
Yeah.
So
it's very niche.
Yeah, it's a very niche course. So yeah, I looked at what I could do to the future, and then based my GCSEs around getting into college,
getting the qualifications.
So I really focused on the mathematics side.
Yeah.
All of the mathematics, the sciences, specifically physics.
Yeah.
Not so much chemistry because I didn't want to go
that
much into sort of like
deep.
fuels and oils and that sort of thing. But I focused on getting into motorsport engineering college.
Yeah.
So I at GCSE level I wasn't really the smartest child as it was because I was still growing up, still going out with my friends and stuff like that, so I went and got my qualifications. They weren't the best, so I actually started off on a level 2 BTEC course. Yeah. And I did that for a year. And it was sort of like an introduction to motorsport engineering. So you do a bit of
everything,
bit of hands-on car work, talking about engines, that sort of thing. Yeah. Then that let me progress onto the level 3 extended diploma. Yeah. I then completed 2 years of that, and I found that I was struggling a bit with the engineering math side of it and the engineering science side of it. Not so much that I couldn't do it; it was the fact that some of it was just going over my head.
Yeah, it's a lot of, if you're not as interested, you're not going to pay as much attention.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
And obviously, then when you went to university, so obviously we already discussed it before this, but you actually went to do motorsport engineering.
Yes.
And then, as you say, realized it wasn't exactly where you wanted to be, and then transferred over to motorsport management.
Yeah. So I there was a couple of modules in college that really took my fancy. It was more to do with the business side of how motorsport is run and the preparation of the car, not so much the hands-on preparation, but how you get the vehicle to the circuit or how you get the team to form together to
the logistical
to work,
strategic side.
Exactly. So so I basically then focused what I wanted to do on that, and realised that there was only one real university in the UK that does the course. So I do a Bachelor of Science in Motorsport Management and Logistics. Yeah. So it's an honours degree as well. So that's what I then studied. So the first year I was thinking, oh gosh, the lecturers aren't exactly motorsport professionals.
Yeah, you didn't have a great time. I remember you talking about it at the time. You weren't enjoying
it's
the
not
process
so much.
as much.
The thing is that motorsport is such a weird industry because it's professionals in every different aspect.
Yeah.
So you have professionals in logistics, you have professionals in HR, you have professionals in sponsorship, And a lot of the people that go into the motorsport industry aren't specialists in motorsport.
Yeah.
So they go and study their business development at university, or they go study their human resources at university,
And then learn how to teach.
and then manage to basically get into the industry. So so I thought motorsport management, I will surely be able to find a job studying something along the lines of that. So the modules are very, very varied. You know, we've got everything from warehouse management all the way to sort of like, I don't know, events management.
Yeah.
So although they're both management topics, they are completely different.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
When everyone thinks of motorsport as well, very typically you think, oh, it's a motorbike or a car.
Yeah.
And then you've got the team that fixes it, and you've maybe got, you know, people that do the sponsorship, and you've maybe got this and that. But anyway, I don't think anyone kind of realizes how deep it really goes.
You think these
how many levels there is to it.
Yeah. You think of these Formula One teams, they're spending hundreds of millions of pounds a year just on trying to get money.
Yeah.
Do you know? Right? So it's you in a team, typically some of the smaller teams, they may have 20 people working just on sponsorship.
Yeah.
For 2 cars.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy.
It's crazy sponsorships. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, football teams would struggle to pull that out as well.
Yeah.
To put out that many people just to go and look for sponsors.
Yeah, you get people that just specialize in sponsorship. So you have like the someone that will come into the company just so they can get sponsorship for the. You have to remember that the drivers also need sponsorship.
Yeah.
So it's not just
Car
only
and
the
driver.
team; it's the driver as well.
Yeah.
So it brings in 2 revenues of income for the team. And
course.
you know, these cars, you know, you're thinking just to service, say, a gearbox, something like that. You're thinking of the 40,000, 50,000 pounds just to service a gearbox.
So the amount of sponsorships you need and
Oh,
quantity of money you need off them sponsorships
exactly.
is just you need to actually, as you say, qualify and have a degree in how to formulate that and how to bring that
and how to approach people
and how to approach people.
You need to be able to approach people in a professional manner.
Yeah.
And a lot of these graduates
Yeah.
go out to industry and they've had no experience of how to deal with these massive companies. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Well,
I think that's one thing that obviously you've done, as I mentioned at the start. You went and interned at Motorsport Association.
The Motorsport Industry Association.
Motorsport Industry Association, sorry, and obviously that would be, obviously, as apart from qualifying and graduating this year, that's obviously going to be a really big thing for you going forward
massive.
to put in your CV and to use to your advantage in terms of your experience you've gained from it.
Yeah, so I can give it a little something.
Far ahead.
So yeah, basically in the first year of uni, we got given the opportunity to work with this Motorsport Industry Association. It's a really strange association, as it were.
Organisation.
Yeah, organisation. Because unless you're sort of in motorsport, you don't really know about it. But it's pretty much where businesses can have support, you know, financially, legally, that sort of thing, and it sort of liaises with the government.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it's basically just it. One of the main things about it is that you can talk to other companies.
Yeah.
So
network really well.
Yeah, network really, really well, and you know, we're talking big companies here.
Yeah.
You know, like AP Racing, which are a massive brakes company. We've got most of the Formula One teams, Mercedes. You know, we got a load of massive race teams. And it's pretty much every time you go to these events, you're talking to the directors, you're talking to the head of business,
decision makers.
Yeah, you're talking to the decision makers. You know, the ones that were somewhat making the money for the company and probably make a lot of money themselves. So yeah, you're always talking to the professional people. You're always talking to the people that you want to talk to and the people that you could actually make business with.
Yeah.
So industry associations are massive in every industry. It doesn't matter, you know, if it's motorsport, if it's jewelry, if it's, you know, arts, anything. It's always amazing if a company can get involved with an industry association, because it will help expand your network. Yeah. And it will also expand, you know, your intellectual property of how to deal with situations. Yeah. And how to, you know, approach different, you know,
different people and different people in the hierarchy. I mean, and also just to highlight that actually isn't just for, obviously there is these associations for different industries, but for people like myself who are sole trader, independent, upstart business, you can find these online. It's just find mastermind groups, find networking groups. The key part of it is the networking and knowing that if you want to get further and you want to be able to sign bigger deals, you need to network with people in the specific niche or the industry that you're in. So like Dan's is the Motorsport Industry Association. Yours might just be simply a networking group for Amazon FBA sellers or for, you know, course resellers or for marketing agencies. It's just about finding that place that you can actually network to people that you need to then be able to further your business and your brand.
Yeah, definitely.
So I know, obviously, as I mentioned last week with Layla, when we had Layla Designs on, you obviously had to deal with COVID as well in your last year of graduating university.
Yeah.
So if you want to kind of explain to people how that worked for you on your course.
Yeah. So before I was living down in Swansea at the university campus, and then I basically came home because I thought, I'm going to be able to focus my mind a bit better at home. So I moved back towards to Bath and started really, really knuckling down on my work proper, really thinking about what I was doing. So I actually found that with COVID is that I actually didn't think about COVID that much.
Yeah.
I actually, somewhat tucked myself away in my room and really knuckled down with all the work.
Yeah.
Because what you find with universities, although they try to spread out modules throughout the year, they always
come back all together.
They lay work at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And they do. It's just because, you may have overrun a couple of sessions or you just want to...
So you're always catching up.
Yeah, you're always catching up. So I ended up with university with about 2 months to go and a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We're talking dissertation here, which was the major one.
Yeah, because yours was a big one.
Mine was a big dissertation. So I could talk about that.
Go.
Yeah. So I did a research project. Well, it wasn't a project. It was a dissertation, but I did a lot of research on female inequality in motorsport.
Yeah.
So you're looking at why female drivers aren't reaching top tiers of motorsport.
Yeah.
Or very lackluster, very small amounts of females that go into the top
traction
levels.
to pull up.
Yeah. And I looked and basically saw that female sport as a whole is increasing. Football.
Yeah.
Female football, female rugby.
Yeah.
They've just got their professional contracts back. So they're getting paid to actually do it.
Massive.
And yet all of the female sports are increasing. I think it's because we're becoming a lot more, we're not thinking so much gender stereotyping, that sort of thing. So
definitely. I think social media as well definitely helps with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Because obviously when you're talking about the man's world side of
things,
back in the day when it would have been word of mouth network for your personal network, now it can be, you put it online and you can put yourself out to anyone. It doesn't matter who your target market is, you can reach that target market and you will find people that connect to your brand, that connect to your personality.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned about a female in motorsport, so completely unrelated to this, I actually know someone who works for a motorsport team, and it's Jodie Fieldhouse Racing, it's a motorbike race team. So if you want, go check them out. I'll actually drop their link in the description as well. But they're, from what I've seen, been keeping an eye on the last couple of years, them guys are doing really well. I know they're waiting to get their race days open again. They can't go back to racing.
Yep.
But it's the same thing as you're saying. The spotlight's turning on to it now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And definitely more people are paying attention, if not more, to the females than the males now, because they're seeing the incredible talent that was always sort of maybe shied away and pushed away is now actually being allowed to come to the front and succeed and do really well.
I'd say probably even 5 years ago, females were going into motorsport and they were being used pretty much as a marketing tool.
Oh yeah. It's like ring girls in wrestling and boxing.
Yeah.
And
so
stuff.
obviously the FIA have decided to remove grid girls, as they were.
Yeah.
Not so much that, well, they've obviously changed from wearing their lycra suits and stuff like that. But that was old school.
That's old school.
Old school. But they still went, no, we're going to just completely change it. So they brought in something called grid kids instead. Okay. So it would be children that would go on the grid.
So it's like...
Yeah. So
like football when the kids come out the ball.
Exactly. So they actually ended up doing that. And so I think it's worked. But you've had a couple of countries that are like, nah, I'm not doing that.
You'll have that, yeah.
But
Dubai.
Yeah. no, not Dubai.
No,
not Dubai. It was actually Russia and Monaco.
Oh, Russia.
Were the big ones.
Yeah, probably.
But it was the first couple of seasons that I think they've started to
kick it in now. Yeah.
Onto it.
I mean, it's not even like it's a bad thing, because you're just swapping publicity for one thing for publicity for another thing, isn't it?
But then you have to think about the money side of.
The
money side of Grid Girls was unreal. Yeah. If you look back at the days when Eddie Jordan was employing Katie Price. And the thing is you have a company that wants to market themselves. Oh yeah. They're going to have a grid girl at the front with their logoing all over their body, all over this signage.
And you've got to make it the most aesthetic looking picture possible. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's a massive issue. And then if you can actually look at an interview that This Morning did, on YouTube, and they had grid girls on there that were like, oh, although you say it's a feminist movement,
It's still our job.
They're still our job. We love doing it.
Yeah.
Why are you making us girls who try to look good or look good don't want to do it? Do you know what I mean?
It's like the eternal argument. Isn't
it is the eternal
body positivity, but not too positive.
That's it. So
that's even more job for you, though. I mean, obviously, this is kind of where you'd be looking at as well. Like, how do you market that when you're taking away something that is so sort of ingrained into
controversial.
And then swapping that and then being able to market something new, but to then obviously bring it to the same level as the girls could easily do
and
themselves.
earn as much money.
Yeah, exactly. How to make that more profitable.
Because at the end of the day, business is about making money. If you're not making money, you're not doing. You're not a business. You're not a business. So that's one thing. These Formula One teams, although they are pretty much just driving around in circles.
Yeah.
Not in circle, on circuits, they are making ridiculous amounts of money.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not just that. You think of the Formula One organisation as a whole.
Yeah.
They have advertisement before.
Yeah.
Before the races. Think about how much Formula One and the people the what they call the people that show off the TV shows.
Like the hosts.
Yeah, like the hosts.
People, like the hosts.
Imagine how much money they're charging for primetime adverts.
Oh yeah.
It's mental.
It's
so, and you think about that's only just Formula One we're talking about now. Now, if we talk about IndyCar and NASCAR that's shown in America, they with Formula One you don't get breaks during the race. With IndyCar and NASCAR,
because it's bloody fucking long, mate.
Yeah, because they have to. Because they have 400 or 500 laps sometimes. Yeah. They cut every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you get these sponsors that come in, and they are charging millions of pounds.
Oh, you get like a Buick advert in the NFL, mate, and it's like a 6-minute advert, and it just doesn't stop.
Yeah, they'd be chucking millions.
Oh yeah.
Of that. And it's just like so. For obviously, with a lot of small companies, they cannot go straight towards that.
Yeah.
So what small companies do is they start looking at club level racing.
Yeah.
So we have a circuit where I studied actually at Castle Combe, Chippenham. So these smaller companies, these SMEs as they would sponsor these very, very small race teams, and that's a way to get viewership straight away in their company. Or
this is exposure. This is something I've actually been talking about with a couple of people, mainly Lael, obviously, because financially we're partners. But I've been talking to a couple of people about that's something I actually want to look at very much so. Is a sponsor a race team at some point in the near future. That is, and like you say, go just low league.
Yeah.
But more for the point of helping a race team out than.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
This doesn't really help a marketing agency fucking sponsoring a race team, but it would really. I think I would just enjoy more giving them the money to watch their team develop, and then just getting a free ticket to turn up the races every weekend.
Exactly.
Really,
That's it.
That's
one thing. One thing I really, really like is that once you start making these connections in motorsport, is that it leads to something else. And it leads to something else. It leads to something else, and it could be the case that that's something I was really interested in before I went to uni. Was the hospitality of motorsport. You go to these events and you are given everything.
Yeah. Exactly.
These massive race teams. I was lucky to go to a couple of Lotus and then it was Renault F1. So I've actually sat in a couple of these hospitality tents, gazebos.
Yeah.
It's realistically a massive race truck.
Yeah, it's a big hospitality truck, isn't it? Catering truck.
But yeah, we went there and it was, what do you want? I was there thinking, I'm going to have to get my wallet out now. No, nothing. You can have anything you want.
Yeah.
Beer, champagne, anything.
Yeah.
It's just another league when you start talking to these massive Formula One, Formula E, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the lower league stuff, it's just getting some money in, and so they can buy maybe some new tools.
Yeah, it's like a new toolbox, or that's like a new set of tires, or money to get to a race day, or something to help.
You'd actually be surprised how much tires cost.
Oh yeah, even for a car. Never mind getting them for a race car.
Wait until you get to a race car. And you're thinking, sometimes they're £400-500 per car.
And you're going through racks of slicks. There's racks off them.
Yeah, racks of them. So they'll go through 4 or 5 sets a day.
Yeah, and especially if you go back to talking about NASCAR. And how much your wear and tear in your car is on NASCAR. I mean, weird stat I actually found out the other day that in a standard NASCAR race, a driver will lose either £5 or 5 litres of sweat in
Yeah,
one
yeah.
race because it's just so warm and they're just going for
Yeah,
so
yeah,
bloody
yeah.
like it's just relentless.
Yeah, and that's, you know, sometimes that's even on the cool days. Imagine
Yeah.
when it's
If you're doing
weather like today here.
Texas Derby and you're like doing 500 laps,
500
around the
laps. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
it's crazy.
you die.
But yeah, that's something that I'm really interested in, is these small medium enterprises and how they can make money off of small little things like sponsorship.
Yeah, of course.
You know, if they give a company £500, it's not a lot to some of these small companies, just to put a sticker on a car.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
And they get exposure. Then people walk around the pits and they go, "Oh, look at that company! I wanted to get, I don't know, some, say it was martial arts lessons or something like that. I wanted to get some martial arts lessons."
Yeah.
And if they're based in the local area, they could go, "Oh, I might actually look them up on their socials."
Yeah.
Click their socials in. There you go. You've got another person looking at your socials straight away.
Well, that's it. It's even if you don't class it as a conversion marketing, because you're not going to drive direct sales possibly from it, but in terms of like engagement, brand awareness, it's
definitely,
incredible.
It's incredible, and
it's insane. Especially if they pull a win.
They
pull a win right there.
Because you said earlier I worked with James.
Yeah.
James is really, really good in front of the cameras, like incredibly good.
Is this the James? I know.
Yeah, this is
our James, isn't it? Yeah, right. I thought so. I assumed that.
Yeah, so he's top level British Rally Championship. Yeah. So you're talking cars that are close, if not more than £100,000.
James, hit me up. Come on, we'll have a word.
Yeah. So this is top flight motorsport. Pretty much the highest British Rally Championship. Yeah. It is the British Rally Championship. So it's televised.
Yeah.
You have to remember that the television exposure is ridiculous.
Never mind race day exposure, yeah.
Well, race day not so much, because if you think about it,
unless people are walking through pits and seeing cars, you can't see it at fucking, 90, 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, 90, 100 miles an hour at some points. But sometimes the exposure on TV is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Especially when the British Rally Championship has a really, really good live streaming service whenever the rallies are on. Yeah. And it's all about how you approach the person with the camera.
Yeah.
The guys at British, Ben, one of the commentators, he loves talking to James because he's so open.
He knows James will have a full conversation with him, just
just
chat away to him.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's all about how you are with the camera. It's all about, how you can talk to it. And always, if there's any drivers watching, always thank your sponsors.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah, if you're a sports person or anything, always thank your sponsors.
Because they're giving you money.
That's who pays your rent.
That's who pays your rent. That's who pays your rent. That's who lets you race.
And that's who lets you, same as this, that's who lets you follow your passion. So if you get sponsors, always. So with that in mind, any sponsors out there, again, hit me up if you want to sponsor the podcast. Well, that's great. Do you want to leave it there for a sec? We'll have a quick break and then we'll come back and discuss your business plan and sort of how you're going to go about your future as well.
Yep.
Perfect, no problem. Perfect. Hello and welcome back to Project Passion. We're here with Dan Tate, talking about his university experience and his experiences within the motorsport industry. Before the break, we talked about his uni experience, his internships, and everything he'd done up until this point within the industry. And now we're going to talk about your plan for the future and how you're setting up your brand and yourself to kind of go forward within your passionate industry.
Yeah. So as we said before, I've worked alongside the MIA as an intern for 3 years on and off now. Yeah. So working as an intern with the MIA, I've had the experiences of working at some of their major events. Some of these events are at the Autosport Show, which is a very, very well-known trade show or car show, as it were, in the motorsport and performance car industry. So I work on the Thursday and Friday at the Autosport Show, and they also host something called the Energy Efficient Conference on the Thursday. On the Wednesday. On the Wednesday of the week. So it's hosted at the NEC. So I've now been to that show 8 times.
Damn.
I've done 8 years of that show. I've done 3 working at the show, and then 3 going with the college before, and then a couple of times with my family. But so I've done the show many, many times. I know it like the back of my hand. I work on the a VIP and executive lounge.
Nice.
So it's basically we have, sometimes we have Formula One cars on our stand. We've had Bentley GT3 cars on our stand.
Nice.
But one of the new thing is electric vehicles and electric motorsport.
Yeah.
So that's a massive thing. That's obviously over the last 5 years or so, there's been a massive push towards making everything electric.
Yeah.
So we have people from Williams Advanced Engineering who bring along one of their Jaguar Panasonic Formula E cars that we've had there for the last couple of years. And they're one of the main companies, as it were, in the Motorsport Industry Association. So they supply all of the batteries for the first 2 or 3 years of Formula E. They also do all the gearboxes. They do all of the, some of these major companies. They do all of the design and development for them. But yeah, there's a massive push towards electric vehicles, and so that's what the Energy Efficient Conference does.
Yeah.
You get some of the biggest names from, say, Audi. We've had people from like marine companies that come in and talk about marine batteries, and basically, so it pretty much explains it itself, really. But yeah, it's an amazing conference, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
There's hundreds of people there from all aspects of the motorsport industry.
Is that already happened this year then? I suppose it won't happen this year then. Possibly, depending.
They're still sort of not
Kind of
sure
in
because it's
hand.
January, so it's.
Oh, so you've still got a good amount of time then. Yeah,
still
it's
got a
already
good amount of
happened
time.
then.
But it's an amazing experience. So I've been lucky to work on 3 of them now with the MIA.
Awesome.
So I actually ended up, after the first year, the second year I did the internship, I was lead student.
Yeah.
So I'd bring along maybe sometimes 5 or 6 students that I would be in charge of. Responsible for. So I'd help do all the stuff like the hotels for them, the transport, the money side of how they get their money from the internship.
Which is your degree anyway, is in terms of logistical
logistical and that sort of thing. So working with the university and the MIA to pretty much sort all of it out. But then once you get there, once you've done it for a couple of years, you know what you're doing. You know how to approach these people. These sometimes they're massive names. So I've done Autosport and the Energy Efficient Conference for 3 years. I've also had the opportunity to work at the House of Lords, which is unreal because not a lot of people manage to get anywhere near that area of Parliament. So I've managed to do that. It's very, very strange going in there. It's like a full body scan, everything.
Very official.
Yeah, very, very official.
Very official.
Not allowed to walk around anywhere without a guard or
someone watching you go for every doorway.
Yeah, literally. So and I've met some lords, and I've met some of the I've met Chase Carey.
More good networking.
Yeah, I wish I could network with some of these guys, but honestly, some of the people who are very, very high up. I've met Ross Brawn, who used to own Brawn GP company. He's also very, very high up in Formula One now. I've met Chase Carey, who owns Formula One. He's also part of Liberty Media Group, so they own Fox and they own pretty much everything. So he's the CEO. He's a guy with a massive tash, the American fella, and he's honestly such a genuinely nice guy. Normally, you think people, with a bit of money, just a little bit of money, would be, sort of stuck up.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, he's such a amazing guy. So it was a pleasure to meet him at the House of Lords.
I'm trying not to sneeze. I did this in the last podcast. I choked on my tea. So I've just had the experience. The Motorsport Industry Association is honestly an amazing place. The staff are incredible. Chris Aylett, who's the CEO, is honestly such a down-to-earth and genuine person. He's exactly the same as some of these guys. He makes changes in the motorsport industry. There's a thing called the VNUC. It's like an insurance problem, pretty much. It was saying that any vehicle would need to have insurance, whether they're on-road or off-road. Yeah. And with motorsport, you can't get insurance sometimes. Because you'll fucking smash it up.
Yeah. Sometimes the risk is too high.
The risk.
And you're going to have all these small race teams that just won't be able to insure their car because the risk is too high. Yeah. You can't insure it. So they helped out with the VNUC crisis. That's all sorted, or I think it's sorted now. But Chris pretty much just hammered the hell out of the government until they changed it. Yeah. So that's one thing that an industry association is really, really good for. It's always helping you out with sort of
That's good.
government.
Like a union almost.
Yeah,
to fight
pretty
your
much.
battle,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need it.
yeah. Fights your battle.
And then obviously now you're graduated. You're not doing a master's.
I'm not doing a
Good
master's
choice.
because
That's
it's a lot of money.
yeah.
It's for something that I want to do. I'd want to probably study it.
You don't want to do it properly. If you
I want to do
masters
it
in
properly again, and I want to do a probably maybe business development
Yeah.
or operations
Yeah.
management, something like that. The thing with my course is that you can go into anything.
Yeah.
You can go into any organisation and go, this is how you make it more profitable. This is how you.
Your core business skills are there.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
Your core business skills are there. That's the thing. Most people think my degree is a business degree,
Yeah.
but it's not. It's a management degree.
It's a management degree.
So it doesn't matter what business aspect you're going into, as it were. You can
still
oversee
and authorize.
So yeah, I work with. I do a bit of work when I was at uni with a small champagne company.
Yeah.
Distribution. They pretty much it's like a gift package
Yeah.
company, and they and I'm always in there talking to the owner. I'm like, "What have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing this?" And he's there. That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Have you thought about changing your supplier so you make more profit on each
Cut
item?
your overhead.
Cut your overheads. It's just little things like that. Are you using the right logistics company to send your parcels out?
Yeah.
Are too many parcels being damaged? It's that sort of thing that you always have to think about. So I really enjoy working with SMEs, as I said before, just to alleviate these small little problems that can basically increase your profit margins by ridiculous amounts.
So obviously then you're not going back to do a master's, so obviously you'd be looking for work now. You're trying to get into obviously with everything going on, it's a bit more
the motorsport industry is completely
but that is also
wrote
somewhere
off.
you're trying to get to.
Oh yeah,
push into
definitely.
your
Yeah.
industry.
So the motorsport industry, many people in business are aware that McLaren have cut so many jobs.
Yeah.
And it's the same with pretty much every company.
Yeah.
One thing that has excelled during this time is esports.
Oh yeah.
So
blowing up.
So it's blown up like.
I think esports the other day announced that they're dropping like the Esports Association or some mad shit like that. They just announced that they're dropping like an extra $5 million.
Oh yeah.
Into like market and development and shit like that. Man, there's so much money going out there.
Well, you can look at go back to Formula One again. I talk about that quite a lot, but it's what I know. Yeah. Formula One. They've had their esports Formula One series whilst COVID's happening.
Yeah.
Obviously, they couldn't race in Australia.
Yeah.
It was actually surprising because every team was in Australia ready to go. It was literally I can't remember how many days it was before. It's actually a long time ago. Now,
Yeah.
thinking back on it. Back in January, I think, isn't it?
6 months ago.
Something like that. They all flew out to to Australia. Sorry, they're all based in the UK, most of them, except from Ferrari and another team. But they all flew out, and then they had to move everything back.
Yeah,
and you think, logistically, that is a massive issue.
It's a clusterfuck, that is.
Yeah, because you've got all your pit lanes, all your everything, all going to Australia, which is the other side of the world.
Like another continent, you're just the whole other side of the world.
Other side of the world.
Whole other side.
And then they have to ship everything back.
Yeah.
So the logistics.
And make no money in that process.
Yeah, the logistics of motorsport is just ridiculous because they always have 2 ships going around the world at any one time.
Yeah.
Full of hospitalities. So they have motorsport normally have 3 or 4 of everything.
Yeah.
So there are 3 hospitality units.
Yeah.
And they're talking millions of pounds each.
That's tax just for that alone.
Yeah. So they've constantly got road freight going around.
Yeah.
Around Europe mainly. Europe's all done by road or rail. You have to think that they're trying to cut their emissions by a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
You will never not have emissions in motorsport.
Yeah.
No matter what anyone says, you will never have it.
Yeah, you'll never have zero emissions because even if you take your cars to fully fucking zero emissions, you still have to consider your freight, boat, train, plane, car to get shit across the world.
Even if they start using Tesla electric trucks, you still got to get the power to power them up.
Yeah, exactly.
And
there's always going to be a cost in terms of emissions.
Yeah,
in terms of
always. And there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. You're not going to get rid of an entire sport.
You can't, no.
Or an entire branch of sport.
Exactly, yeah. But it's the same with everything. It's the same with football. How do you get players to a different stadium?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
You have to ferry them there. You have to ferry them some way, yeah.
But then with motorsport, it's a bit different because you go in different parts of the world, or specifically F1.
Yeah.
You go different parts of the world. It's the same with some of other championships. We're just talking about open wheel racing series at the minute. You talk about world touring cars.
Yeah.
So they go different parts of the world, so they're like sort of tin top, road going cars with a bit extra power, a bit of extra body.
I mean, logistically, it must be an absolute clusterfuck in general. Just with, if you consider, right, we have to send, these elements by a ship on a shipping container, and they have to go 2 weeks in advance, and then you have to send, this part, which is going to go this
6
way.
months in advance.
Yeah, and it has to go that way, and then you've got people to ferry on planes, and you have to worry about getting them on transfers back and forward, and as well as your logistics of months and weeks of planning to get individual things there.
In one of my first years, I talked to my lecturer about this. He was military background, and I was like, you must know about motorsport. And he's like, no, I don't know anything about it. But what I do know is that they have 7 planes worth of stuff, 747s, going around and following them around when they have to fly between different areas. Yeah. They have 7 planes. You then have to think about some parts are flammable. Yeah. Some parts explode when they go to get into different pressures.
Pressurizes, yeah.
And some, they have custom-made boxes from DHL that fit into planes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like the pre-formed, like sliding units?
So all of that sort of stuff. It's all pre-formed and, like you said, and it's all has to be in certain places at certain times, and everything is to the point. And that's one thing I really love about motorsport is that it's so to the point. It's not floaty. Yeah. If you know what I mean. Yeah. It's like maths and science. You either do it right or you do it wrong.
Oh yeah, there is a right or wrong way of getting across you. Yeah.
But one thing with motorsport is that if you do the wrong, you have to pay the consequences.
Yeah, there's a much higher consequence. Yeah. It's like you can mess up in a bar job, but you can't mess up if you're a pilot. Because if you mess out, everyone's fucking dead.
Yeah, literally.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it's exactly the same. And, one mistake, you could go back to pit lanes. You accidentally take, let's go NASCAR, you don't take all the pins off the wheels at a set time, it can ruin the whole race.
Oh yeah, especially even in the danger of if you don't have your last wheel nut on and you haven't disengaged your drill bit. Gone. Yeah, and your arm possibly. If he takes off and you're...
Yeah, you could go back to the Ferrari, when the Ferrari pit lane man got run over by a driver.
That's what I had in my head, yeah.
Just because he had his leg out slightly. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's always, that's what I love.
Spatial awareness.
The practice and perfection of motorsport is incredible.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, have you any tips for anyone, depending on where they are in their path, either before uni, coming out of uni, for how people could go if they want to get to where you are, go through the same journey?
So one thing with motorsport is that you always define your path. Yeah. Right, so what I would do if I was very, very lucky that I was always very driven to where I want to go. Mm-hmm. It's changed over time, but I always know that I wanted to get into motorsport, high-end motorsport, Formula 1, Formula E, that sort of thing. So always look to the future, because then you can start studying your GCSEs or your A levels or BTEC courses.
Set yourself up early.
And then do the best you can. Mm-hmm. Don't overdo it, but always get enough that you can progress. Yeah. That's what I did at college. I was still in that mind frame where I didn't want to do the best I could. I always wanted to get as much as
Just pass.
Yeah, just pass. And then when I progressed and I did something that I focused on more, and I liked more, say motorsport management, I started really, really pushing. Yeah. Really,
and I think in case of people as well, like some people when they're younger do know exactly what they want to do and stuff, and they do.
It's very rare, but
and they have that mindset where they know, like they have that more mature mindset to know to do better in school for the future. But there's also that thing like if you don't, when you're in primary school or early years of high school, don't worry too much, because when you do find what you're interested in, like we said with Lay 11 Signs last week, when you find what you're interested in, it comes easier. You find like you're then more driven to do what you need to do to get to where you know you want to be.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah. So, just really, really push yourselves through the later stages of your education.
Yeah. I mean, university, might not be for everyone, but if you know you need it to get to where you want to be, then do it. And like Dan done, don't be afraid of picking a course and then changing it when you realise it's not for you. Because I say this all the time, but you can quit things. It's just about quitting the right things and quitting at the right time and in the right way. Yeah. You should never be afraid to quit something if it's not right for you or if it's not going to be successful, because at that point you're flogging a dead fucking horse, and you should just scrap it off, but then quit in the right way and at the right time when need be.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. Just one thing, if you want to get into engineering, into motorsport engineering, go to your race days.
Yeah.
Talk to teams. They're not some of the higher teams. They're super duper busy. Each person has got a task to do, and they need to do it in this time. This blah blah blah, and they just don't have time for you. But what I would say is go to these small teams, ask if they need a hand with anything. See if you can just shadow what they're doing. Go to your local racetracks. I don't know where the viewer might be listening from, but pretty much there's always a racetrack that's close.
No, you get a racetrack within an hour and a half from most places.
Yeah, from most places. So just go to that. Have fun. Don't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And just see what they're doing. Because I was always fascinated not only with the racing, like I said at the start, but always the teamwork.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd sit there when the race is going on and just go like, why are you sat around?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this?
It's kind of like the being part of something bigger thing. It's a part of everyone has to work as a fluid machine for the one thing to succeed.
Yeah. So when I was at college, I worked with the Formula 4 team that the college ran, and it would always fill me with pride.
Yeah.
To wear a team badge.
A team badge. I love it, and it give me an emblem or some sort of logo. And
it would always fill me with pride because you could walk in and out with your band on. Get your band on. People were there queuing up, paying, and you're there.
I'm alright, mate.
I'm going through.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
And then everyone's got that. Who's he?
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone loves that. But,
and it's even better when you're wearing a suit.
Oh yeah, because then they think you're actually something else, don't they?
Yeah. So
like,
when
who's he?
When I was working with the MIA, I used to always love putting my pin badge on because you'd wear the same badge as the MIA members. And people would look at you and go, bloody hell.
Okay, he's young.
Yeah, he's young. he must be doing all right. But yeah, that's always take pride in what you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Because if you don't take pride, then people aren't gonna.
You're not going to do the job half as well as you should. You're not going to produce the best bit of content or the best product that you should.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's always just take pride in what you do. Do the best you can to the extent, and just let it go. Rock with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, look, all good for you. We'll wrap it up there then.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, look, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, this video will definitely go out this week. Hit like, comment, subscribe. If you're watching on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, leave us a review, follow the podcast. As usual, you can get me on Instagram and Facebook, facebook.com/JT Media Marketing. Instagram is @_Johnny Thompson. And Dan, I think professional is LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah.
All links, as usual, will be in the description below, both on Spotify, iTunes, podcasts, everywhere that it is. It's all over the place. So hopefully you're still watching. And we'll be back next week. We'll have another guest on the show. And it'll be something completely different again. Remember to comment below, let me know what your passions are, and we will try and get someone on the show to try and cover that. Anything else from you, Dan?
No, that's it. Just hit the bell notification.
Hit the little bell, get notified when we upload, exactly.
That's it.
Thank you for watching, guys. Have a good day.
Cheers, guys.